Hi, this is Jenny Gear, and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast.
Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours, Avalon Standard Time.
Hi folks, my name is Barb and Toniak. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and I'm here in St. John's, Newfoundland, and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with the Roar! Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with the Roar. I'm Jim Fidler. Welcome back to all you folks who've been tuning in for the last little while. And of course, welcome aboard to all you newcomers. The news is good. We have checked our stats, and it would seem that there are quite a few more of you than we thought. So, that we're very, very pleased to hear that, and really, really glad to have you aboard. In fact, the numbers now indicate that we're just under 5,000 listeners per week. So we would like to ask you all to see if we can pitch in together here and get that over the 5,000 mark. So maybe see if we can by next week get up to over 5,000. We're at about I forget the exact figure, but we're somewhere around 4,923 or something crazy like that. So tell your friends about the Roar, and we'll let you know next week if we actually manage to get the numbers up over the 5,000 mark. But that would be way cool. That would be well beyond our expectations. You know, when we started doing this, it was just a kind of an outlet for us, a bit of fun, and a way of sort of sharing this place that we live in, this absolutely magnificent place we live in, with you people all over the world. The music and everything else as well. So it's really, it just makes you feel like it's worth continuing to do, to know that there's all you people out there. And let's get your friends in on the act. Let's see if we can crack that 5,000 number by next week. I would like to apologize to everybody for the delay in getting this week's show out. I made the solemn vow that we would get the show up from now on Friday evenings, and that's certainly our full intention, but things kind of went a little bit pear-shaped this week. But all good, have no fear. Nobody was injured or anything like that. It was good stuff. We had some family by Friday evening, and of course I had the full intentions of getting the show up Friday evening. We were sitting around the table and having a barbecue, and this is family that we don't get to see very often either. Lillian's mom and her brother and his wife and their two kids, our nephew and niece, Aaron and Hannah. And if you guys are listening, hello Aaron and hello Hannah, from your Uncle Jim. And we just ended up getting carried away. We ended up out here in the control room playing with the keyboard and all that sort of fun stuff. And then Saturday and Sunday just went equally as pear-shaped, and just it wasn't going to happen the weekend, folks. But as I said, it is our intention to get it to like a 1-hour show and get it up every Friday evening for you guys so you can listen to it on the weekends. That's our ideal scenario. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer, so bear with us, please. Also, we have the forum, and boy, things are starting to heat up over there. We've, I think the announcement, the welcome announcement in Fidler's Pub, I think has been viewed something like 300 and some odd times now. So people are definitely looking in over there. And I think we've got, I don't know, about 17 registered people there now. We really hope you guys enjoy the forums over there. We have Fidler's Pub, which was the first one we put up, and since then we've put up Eddie's Shack by popular demand. There was some little hints over there about something along the lines of an Eddie Mailbag fan club, which is very cool. I would definitely have to say that I'm one of Eddie's biggest fans in the world. Eddie's a real cool guy. And we also have over there now the Roaratorium for all you Roar listeners. That's a place where you can just go over and touch base with each other and say hello and try to figure out what other kinds of people listen to this thing that you listen to. And you never know, you guys just might gang up on us from time to time and give us some suggestions about some things that you might like to hear, or give us some thumbs up every now and again, or thumbs down, depending on the circumstances. And you can get to those over at republicofAvalonradio.com, or I have a link as well on my main artist webpage at jimfidler.com. So you guys can just go on over there and tap at the door and go on in, say hello, and have a chat and have a jar if you so desire. But there it is, yeah. So we have the forum as well, and very excited about that. That's a whole lot of fun. Just the idea of it, you know, just the idea of having that spot over there. Because I do know I've never been really active in that whole side of things. Used to be into the BBS thing quite a while ago, and of course I'm on several email lists to do with engineering, production, and music things, mostly that kind of stuff. But from what I gather, all those various places aren't necessarily the greatest. Sometimes they're not moderated at all, and there's all kinds of stuff that turns out to be not too much fun going on. As well, other times these things get moderated, and they get a little bit too heavily moderated, and you get some person who's supposed to be just sort of keeping things on the straight and narrow, and sometimes they tend to get a little bit on a bit of a power trip or something like that. But we have our good friend Anne in Philadelphia taking care of that, and we don't anticipate any problems whatsoever. I think Anne's going to run a very good ship over there. So if you guys have enjoyed from time to time some sort of a space on the internet where you can run into some like-minded people, I think your odds are going to be pretty good over there. So we're very, very happy about Fidler's Pub, the Roaratorium, and Eddie's Shack. Well, without too much further rambling on my part, we'll get ready to get things rolling here. This week is sort of easing back into the norm. It's the fall, and it's a new season. Summer is past, and we're getting back into, I guess, a bit of a normal format for the Roar on this week's episode. Anyway, we're going to take a little stroll downtown. There's a few things that we're going to be talking about. A couple of stories, actually, that we hope you find interesting. We hear from Eddie Mailbag with our Mailbag segment, which is our listener feedback, where we get to hear from you guys and see what's happening. As well, we have Joke of the Week, another one this week for you to drive you into the jigs. Just a little bit of normal sort of Roar activity going on here this week at the Roar. For you next week, we're calling next week the Power Hour. Colleen Power will be here next week to have a chat with you, and we'll play some of her music, some music that her and I have done together, and just all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned for that next week, the Power Hour. And in the meantime, you can get in touch with us via email and perhaps be featured in our mailbag section. Have Eddie read your email. You can reach us at republicofAvalonradio@gmail.com or at jimfidler roar@gmail.com. You can also, and this is something that I'm going to throw out there with a little bit of oomph this week. We really love hearing your voice, and we haven't really had much happening on the Roar line lately. So leave us a message on the Roar line. The number is country code 1. The area code is 724, and the number is 426-8176. So altogether, that is 1-724-426-8176, and you'll just reach the voicemail. And just leave us a little message. Say hi, send a shout out to the other listeners, to your fellow listeners. Send a shout out to us or to anybody you would like. Just say anything you want. And we just love to hear from you. And it's extra nice when you call the Roar line, because we actually get to hear your voice. So, in fact, I just emailed somebody today. Somebody emailed a while back, and I emailed her back and say and asked her to call the Roar line, so you guys get to hear her as well. All right, with no further ado, let's just press on with Roar episode number 16. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio. Okay, we're just coming out of the Irving store on Water Street, where we just got a battery for the little unit that these mics hook up to. We're using the Core Sound binaural mics, and I've got them hooked up. What am I hearing?
What?
Oh, I'm hearing a little bit
Maybe
of...
you're just hearing everything magnified.
I think it's your shoes.
Caramel Covey Duck is still on the sign over there.
Caramel Covey Duck. What is a caramel Covey Duck?
She's a winner.
A winner of what?
Winner of a grand prize something or other.
Oh, okay.
Cruising to win.
Ah, nice.
But she's been on that sign for about 2 months, I think.
They can't have too many winners, I don't think. So, I'm using the Core Sound binaurals. I have them, instead of... Last week I had them in a binaural configuration clipped to my glasses. So they were on each side of my head, pointing exactly hard left and hard right. But this week I have them clipped to my collar on each side and pointing sort of straight ahead and a bit to the left and a bit to the right. So what sort of a pattern do you think, stereo pattern do you think folks would be getting out of this? About a 90 degree if you look at where each one is pointing?
Yeah, I think so.
Or about 120, or what would you say?
About maybe 100.
Okay. So that should be a good wide. Like if I turn my head over here, there's the right mic, and I turn my head over here, there's the left mic.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just sort of in the middle. But I don't think it's... I think there's some phase cancellation on my voice last week because of you'll find that with the binaurals, hard left and hard right. I think you're in that kind of no man's land in the middle. So I'm sure my voice sounds much better this week, hopefully. And we just popped that fresh battery in, so that should be working a lot better. And here we are. This is Roar 16.
Sunday, October 2nd.
Yes, Sunday, October 7th.
2nd.
2nd, sorry. 2005. Well, that sort of sounds like second.
Okay.
7th, 2nd. So, there was a couple of things that we were going to mention. We're just taking a little stroll down town. Lillian's got to go into the office and do a little bit of work. And I'm going to wait for her down at the pub. It's a rough job, but someone's got to do it. So, in any case, there's a couple of things that we wanted to mention to you guys. One was this little story that I found pretty funny. A good friend of ours, Susan, she actually volunteered at Atlantic Fest this past year. And she was telling us last night about her great uncle who just recently passed away. Apparently he was 83 years old. He was one of 5 brothers. And hope I'm getting this all correct. He was one of 5 brothers, and there was only 2 brothers left. So just not long before he died, his brother, his one remaining brother, came in to see him. And so they said to him, there's somebody here to see you, open your eyes. And his brother says to him, he says, do you know who I am? And he opened his eyes and he looked at him, he said, yeah, you're next. Yeah, you're next.
That's a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets in terms of humor. It doesn't get much funnier than that.
No.
Real life humor. That's boy, when you're staring eternity down the barrel of eternity, and you can crack a joke. I mean, I wonder, when did he think that up? He might have been holding on to that one since he was about,
He might have.
17. He might have first thought of that.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe it was just spontaneous too.
It was probably spontaneous, but I'm just kind of getting a little jazzy with it. You never know how long he was sitting on that.
Well, it certainly takes courage to have a sense of humor when you're lying there, and apparently he knew that he wasn't coming back out of the hospital, so
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, gee whiz. Sense of humor is a great thing.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that that's a real life story, something that actually happened, and you just can't make them up as good as that.
No, when she told us that last night, we roared. It was just,
Yeah. That's what we say. I don't know if you guys say that where you are, wherever you're listening, but we say that we roared. It just means we laughed. We laughed a lot. I think my brothers in Pennsylvania say howl, kind of much the same way. We howled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sort of howled with laughter, but we roar with laughter.
Mm-hmm.
So there you are. A little bit of linguistic update from the Republic of Avalon.
and another meaning for roar, R-O-A-R, which is the Republic of Avalon Radio.
Exactly.
To laugh.
Yes, the laugh.
With, a belly laugh.
You're with the laugh. Gee whiz, what the heck was that? So it's a not a bad night here at all, is it?
No, it's quite nice.
I don't know what the temperature is. It's
very warm.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Probably about 12, 13 degrees. Well, you can see on City Hall when we go by, can't you?
Can, yeah.
We'll see what the temperature is. We'll give you guys the Republic of Avalon weather report.
It's so cool. We're right across from the dockyard, the shipyard, like.
Uh-huh.
They unload and store containers from ships that are going to Montreal and
Mm-hmm.
different places around the world. And the seagulls, that's where they sleep at night. They sleep on top of all these containers.
Cool.
They come in and they all congregate there because there are these huge, big lamps, they're really big. And it must be very warm there at night.
Uh-huh.
So there's like hundreds and hundreds of seagulls just pitched on top of these containers.
Very smart.
Very cool.
Very smart birdies.
Very smart, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a big incubator.
Uh-huh. So I was just thinking, that joke. Well, it wasn't a joke. Well, it was a joke, yeah. But it would be very interesting for you guys if you have some real jokes, real stories, real funny stories, things that happened to you in your life, or could be, kind of a story in your family that your grandfather or grandmother told for years and years, or one of your parents, or just anything like that. Send it in to us. And it doesn't have to be funny. It could, just something that's just like, wow. Imagine, the fact something like that could actually happen. It sounds like something that one might have a slight problem believing, because it's just so incredible. Kind of a synchronicity or a coincidence or some sort of just bizarre set of circumstances. I don't know, like traveling all the way around the other end of the earth to meet somebody who looks just like you, or or I don't know what. I can get the ball rolling. I'll start with a story of my own. And then Lillian had something that she wanted to share with you guys as well. But anyway, this little story. I had, or still have actually, let's go back in time though. We're going back to about, gee whiz, what would this have been? What year would it have been? 1991, I guess. I guess it would be 1991. And this would be sometime around probably, I don't know, May, June 1991, I think. Anyway, my group at the time, Pressure Drop, just put out a cassette at the time. It wasn't even a CD. It was a cassette. It was later released on CD, sorry. Anyway, I'm unaware at the time that I have a brother in Ontario. I had this brother that I didn't know existed. And so him and his fiance, he would, they'd lie awake at night, and when you're young and in love, and you're kind of like talking about your dreams for the future and stories about when you were growing up, and little things, all your sort of hopes, dreams, aspirations, and all that stuff. And one thing that he would constantly talk about is, he loves his adopted parents, and that's his family, and there's no question about that. But there was always this deep curiosity in his mind about, I guess, his blood kin. And so they tried everything. She agreed to help him out and hopefully find some family. And they went through all the regular channels and to the agency and did everything, and they just hit a brick wall, basically. They couldn't find anybody. It was hopeless. They couldn't find anybody. And all they knew was the name Fidler and Newfoundland. And then certain things like that our mom had so many brothers and sisters, and what color their eyes were, and things like that. But nothing that would ever help him ever find any of us. And at the time, I was living with my grandmother up in Rabbittown, and I didn't have any phone number in the book. I didn't own any property. I didn't, and I didn't have any even birth statistic or anything. So I was completely untraceable. So they gave up the search, and one night when he was at work at like the GM factory in Oshawa, I think, she's at home by herself, and she figures she'll go right out on a limb and do something really crazy. She figures she'll phone directory assistance in St. John's, Newfoundland, and get the number for like government records, properties and deeds and whatever records, government records. That's what she was thinking, government records, okay? So she calls directory assistance, asks for the number for government records, and she's given a phone number. So, I think it's 753-9340. Is that it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Anyway, she calls the number, and the guy on the other end picks up and says, "Hello, Fred's Records." And she says, "Pardon?" He says, Fred's Records. She goes, what is this? What have I reached? And he says, oh, it's a record store. We sell CDs and vinyl and cassettes and so on. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number. I was looking, I'm trying to find somebody, and I thought it was government records. Sorry to bother you. As it turned out, this usually thriving, busy record shop was empty. So the guy, oh my gosh, the guy who was working at the counter at the store says, oh, well, that's all right. There's nothing going on here. Who are you looking for? You never know. And she says, well, I'm looking for someone named Fidler. And he says, well, yeah, I know a guy named Fidler, Jim Fidler. He was just in here about 15 minutes ago signing a distribution deal upstairs with Duckworth Distribution. He's a drummer. And when she heard that, literally, she dropped the phone because my brother Scott is a drummer. So, he went over and got our cassette out of the bin, got a phone number off the back, and gave it to her, who she's now my sister-in-law. Gave her this number. She ended up calling George Morgan, and George called me up and said, there's this Mrs. in Ontario called Lee looking for you. I said, really? And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting, because we had just put out the album, and of course it wasn't long after that we started touring and going to Toronto and various places in Canada and appearing live on Much Music when we were in town a few times. So I thought, it just to me sounded, Lee from Toronto, sounded Lee, just the name to me sounded like some kind of a TV person or a booking agent or something like that. So he said, is it okay for me to give her your number? And I said, sure, okay. So anyway, he passed on the number. I was down in the basement, the phone rang. I picked up the phone, and this is Lee. And she's saying, this is a very weird phone call, she said. This is a very, very strange phone call. I'm going to ask you a few questions. I just want, bear with me. And so she starts asking me things like, how many brothers and sisters does your mom have? And what year was your mother born? And just all these crazy questions. And I'm just like, okay, I'm fine. I'm just answering the questions. And after a while, she hits a point. And then she just tells me, like, I'm engaged to your brother. I'm like, my brother? What are you talking about? My brothers at the time, this was like 1992 or 1991. So good Lord, that was, oh my God, where does the time go? That was 14 years ago. Over 14 years ago. So, my brother Phil, who's now 30, he was like, what, 16? And Andrew, who's now 22 or something, he was, how old was he? He was microscopic. So, and we had a chat, and eventually we ended up meeting. Oddly enough, through that pressure drop group, we ended up in Toronto, and we went and met my brother and Lee, and yeah,
the rest is history.
The rest is history. So the funny thing is, because there was no record of me whatsoever, if that directory assistance person had not mistakenly given Lee the number to the record store where I had been 15 minutes previous, I could say with pretty much full confidence, they never would have found me. And I, to this day, would never know that I have a brother called Scott, who lives in Oshawa, Ontario. And he's a great guy. I'm glad to have him as a brother. Unfortunately, we're not really in touch. He's got a family and he's busy working. And I suppose it was possibly just something that he had to settle in his own mind. He just wanted to get that done. And so there it's done. So maybe at some point in the future, we'll get a chance to hang out some more, meet each other again. And but anyway, there's my story. I mean, to me, that's like an Oprah story. That's the kind of story like you hear on one of those talk shows, one of those shows where it's just unbelievable, you know, or Deanie Petty or something in Canada. Hi.
Yeah, especially when it brings people together.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I mean, what are the odds? She's going to call directory assistance and ask for government records and be given the number for a record store. Not just any record store, the record store that I was just in 15 minutes previously.
There's some kind of divine intervention on the go there, I think.
You know, you got to wonder.
Makes you wonder, definitely.
Yeah. So that would be my test story that I would throw out to you guys. That would be okay. So that would be my test story. My sample story that I would send out to you guys. And any stories you have that, like I said, may be funny or they just may be kind of unbelievable or quirky, but they have to be true stories. Send them on in to Republic of Avalon Radio at gmail.com or jimfidler@gmail.com, and we'll get it on for you. And you had something that you wanted to cover, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just thinking, since we're on this subject of coincidences and stuff, I just had one that's just was one of the kind of most bizarre kind of coincidences in my life, I guess. And that was one time I was driving to Toronto in my dad's pickup truck, and I was going up there to pick up some things that I had left there on my way back to Newfoundland.
Hence the pickup truck?
Hence the pickup truck, yeah.
Okay.
I had, boxes of stuff I left at my brother's place. So I'm driving there by myself, and in this big half-ton pickup, or I don't know, anyway, a big pickup.
Uh-huh.
So, everything's going fine and all that, and I'm going through Quebec, and just, not 2-lane highways, lots of traffic, lots of big transport trucks and that sort of thing. I'm passing everybody because I'm not speeding or anything, but I'm going at a good pace. And I start to feel a bit of a shimmy in the wheel.
Angels.
That's cool.
Okay.
So I'm driving along and I feel a little bit, it wasn't anything really noticeable, but something in my mind clicked and said, something's not quite right with the wheel, something in the front. And there's not many like gas stations or service stations or anything, few and far between as I'm going through Quebec. I was going kind of a back way, and there wasn't a lot in this particular area anyway. And so it just came into my mind.
Hang on. Oh. Next with that.
That's so cool.
Okay, so you're in Quebec, out in kind of the middle of nowhere in Highwayville.
Yeah, and as soon as I thought about that, I see like just very, very close on my right is a gas station. So I made a split decision. I went right into the gas station, and just parked the truck, and there wasn't a guy there like pumping gas or something, and he didn't speak any English.
Or anything.
Yeah.
Pumping gas? You said it wasn't the guy there pumping gas or something.
Oh. Yeah, there was...
What else would he be pumping?
there was, he was just like serving people and stuff.
The pumper.
And he didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak French very well. So I was trying to say, like, I'd like to get the truck looked at because I think there's something wrong. And
You
he
were
didn't
saying
understand.
you were saying my la car is la broken.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So he was busy, and we didn't, say much. He just said there's no mechanic on duty or something like that, and.
Only with a with an outrageous French accent. Okay.
There is no mechanic. So there was a coffee shop there too, like in a restaurant. So I went in there just to sit down and decide what I was going to do. Just think about it. What am I going to do? Am I going to just get back on the road or what?
People are walking by. We're standing here like
let's move over here.
face to face. I'm turned toward her so that she's speaking into like both mics. There's some people walking by, and we're like, we've got the look of love.
I'm speaking directly to you.
Yes, we're glaring into each other's eye bobbles. Okay.
So I go into the little cafe, and I'm sitting down. I ordered a cup of coffee, and I'm sitting there and just, okay, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden I hear, Lillian! And this girl comes running over to me. And it was somebody that I went to high school with that I hadn't seen since then. And
how many years after high school was this?
That was probably 8 or 9 years after high school.
Okay, that's a good stretch of time.
And I didn't know her all that well, really, either. She was just a very, kind of outgoing person, and she knew everybody, and, we didn't know each other as
very
really
outgoing.
friends.
In fact, she went out. She went out so far, she ended up in Quebec.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, she came over and sat down, and she said, "How are you doing? Blah blah. Nice to see you." And then she brought over her boyfriend, and they asked me why I was at.
Does he fit into the story?
He does, actually.
The boyfriend is necessary?
Yes, he's very necessary.
Hold on.
It's like Rumble Night in St. John's.
Okay. All right, so the boyfriend, now we've got him into the story.
So he comes over, and she asks...
The what do you call the cast is growing.
Yes. Anyway, I think he might have been from Quebec.
Okay.
But I said to her after a while of talking and stuff, I said, I came in here because I think there might be something wrong with the truck. And she said, "Oh, Dan here, or whatever his name is, he's a mechanic. Do you want him to have a quick look at it?" So I said, "Sure." So we all went outside, and he got in the truck, and he drove it the length of the parking lot. And as he did that, the wheel came off the truck.
Wow. Wow.
And of course, he knew right away what it was. He took looked at the parts inside and stuff, and it was the rotor.
And was it a front wheel?
Yeah, it was the right front wheel.
So if you had been screaming down the highway doing 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was passing transport trucks too. I remember that. So it's kind of crazy.
And that would have came off. You would have gone completely out of control. You wouldn't have been able to steer.
Yeah.
I think if your rear tire went, you at least would have been able to somehow.
Yeah.
Even if the rear tire came off, you would have been in a pretty bad way.
Oh yeah, I know.
That could have been a life-threatening accident.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of those times, sometimes something tells you to do something, and sometimes you do it, and sometimes you don't. Well, this time
always
I
follow
did.
your gut. That's the one. That's one that you learned on multiple choice tests, and then lots of things in life bear out. You should always follow your gut. We're going to carry on this. So that was the follow your gut story.
For those people to be in that place at that time, because if they weren't there, I would have just gotten in and gone on anyway.
And what was this person's name? This girl?
I can see her face, but I can't remember her
I can
name.
see her face.
Maybe if she does ever hear this story.
High school girl, if you hear this story about meeting Lillian in Quebec and saving her life.
Actually, this could be true.
Yeah. I don't think there's much question, really. I mean, for you to lose a tire while you're driving on the highway like that, while you're pulling out to pass a transport truck or something. Oh, gee whiz. We were that close. Okay, just 1 second now. What else were we going to cover? Was there anything else?
I don't think so. Not that I
Okay.
can think of.
Well, folks, that's it for this little segment, and hope you enjoyed all the motorcycles going by and the famous last words and the follow your gut story. And send us in your stories. Like I say, your funny stories, your there's just classic things that happen in your life. We all think that our lives are so insignificant, but if you think about it, just sit down and think back on your life and some of the funny characters you've met and some of the amazing things that have happened to you, and funny things, or not even necessarily funny things. And I'm sure you all at least have one story to share with the rest of the listeners. So get that on into us. Republic of Avalon Radio at gmail.com or jimfidler@gmail.com. You can Skype us at Republic of Avalon Radio, all one word, all lowercase. Lots of ways of getting in touch with us. So we'd love to hear your story.
Yes.
Right here.
We really would. On the Roar.
On the Roar, please.
Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with the Roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio, you're with the Roar. I'm Jim Fidler, as per usual, and hope you enjoyed that little stroll into downtown St. John's with Lillian and myself. Next, for your listening pleasure, back by growing popular demand, we have our good friend Eddie Mailbag. How are you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing great, thanks.
You're doing very well, from what I gather. There seems to be some rumors flying around that I don't know. Perhaps you might have a love interest or something like that.
Well, I don't know about that. You can't believe everything you hear.
Well, I suppose that's true, but I don't know. I heard it with my own two ears. Somebody named Crystal or something like that.
Oh my. Could we just get on with the business at hand?
Okay, we'll go easy on you, Eddie. No problem, but of course, between you and I. Anyway. Okay, Eddie, carry on. Go ahead and see what mail we have this week.
Thanks. Well, this week's email comes to us from Jerry Hallaton of New York. We played one of his songs, I'm the One, in episode 14 of The Roar. Jerry writes, Hey, Jim, I've just been catching up with a plethora of podcasts from last week. I had company in from out of town. Just heard your 9/24 show, where you featured I'm the One. Thanks so much for playing it. It's an honor to be included in your podcast. The Roar will, no doubt, be one of the podcasts on my hook port when I go to London at the end of this week.
Woohoo.
Finally, a vacation. My wife, Audrey, and I will be there for a week, meeting with some friends. Can't wait. Again, thanks for playing the tune. Keep up the fantastic work. Jerry Howden.
Oh, well, thank you, Jerry. Thank you for sending the song in. Jerry is the artist known as Slau, who we played a track from there on episode 14, as Eddie says. I think that was the Weisenheimer show. Yeah, so that was an absolutely wonderful song. I enjoyed the whole CD. Like I said in my reply to his email, I enjoyed the whole CD, but for some reason that one song just seemed to kind of jump out at me. So that one just seemed to be the one. Well, thanks for your email, Jerry. And anybody else who wants to send in a song, just get in touch with us here at The Roar, and we'll give it a listen. And there's a very good chance that we'll get that on for you. So you can just email us at republicofavallonradio@gmail.com or at jimfidler@gmail.com. Next, we have a little bit more traffic, as we say, but not in the form of an email. This is something that came to us via an email list. I wish I knew the originator of this, because I think this is really clever. We found this on an email list, and I emailed the person who posted it a few times just to see, for example, if it was theirs. This is a little piece. I don't know, some of you might have seen this kind of thing, but I certainly have in the past. It's something like what to do when meeting a blind person. So you read this thing, and it tells you how to address them and so on. And it's all pretty darn patronizing, to be honest. But it is well-meaning. So somebody was clever enough to take it and reverse the perspective. and change it from what to do when meeting a blind person to what to do when meeting a sighted person, which I think is just way clever. And the thing that I like most about it is that they never went overboard and got sarcastic or anything like that. This thing reads just like the original version.
Okay. What to do when meeting a sighted person? Read by your humble host, Eddie Mailbag. Hey, that's me.
Yeah.
Ahem. People who use their eyes to receive information about the world are called sighted people or people who are sighted. Legally, sight means any visual acuity greater than 6/36 in the better eye without correction or an angle of vision wider than 20 degrees. Many sighted people enjoy rich, full lives, working, playing, and raising families. They run businesses, hold public office, and may even teach their children. How do sighted people get around? People who are sighted may walk or use public transport, but most choose to travel long distances by operating their own motor vehicles. They have gone through many hours of training to learn the rules of the road in order to further their independence. Once that road to freedom has been mastered, sighted people earn a legal classification and a driving license which allows them to operate a private vehicle safely and independently. How to assist a sighted person? Sighted people are accustomed to viewing the world in visual terms. This means that in many situations they will not be able to communicate orally and may resort to pointing or other gesturing. Subtle facial expressions may also be used to convey feelings in social situations. Calmly alert the sighted person to his or her surroundings by speaking slowly in a normal tone of voice. Questions directed at the sighted person help focus attention back on the verbal rather than visual communication. At times, sighted people may need help finding things, especially when operating a motor vehicle. Your advanced knowledge of routes and landmarks, particularly bumps in the road, turns, and traffic lights, will assist the driver in finding the way quickly and easily. Your knowledge of building layouts can also assist the sighted person in navigating complex shopping centers and offices. Sighted people tend to be very proud and will not ask directly for assistance. Be gentle yet firm. How do sighted people use computers? The person who is sighted relies exclusively on visual information. His or her attention span fades quickly when reading long texts. Computer information is presented in a graphical user interface, or GUI. Coordination of hands and eyes is often a problem for sighted people, so the computer mouse, a handy device that slides along the desktop, saves confusing keystrokes. With one button, the sighted person can move around his or her computer screen quickly and easily. People who are sighted are not accustomed to synthetic speech and may have great difficulty understanding even the clearest synthesizer. Be patient and prepared to explain many times how your computer equipment works. How do sighted people read? Sighted people read through a system called print. This is a series of images drawn in a two-dimensional plane. People who are sighted generally have a poorly developed sense of touch. Braille is completely foreign to the sighted person, and he or she will take longer to learn the code and be severely limited by his or her existing visual senses. Sighted people cannot function well in low lighting conditions and are generally completely helpless in total darkness. Their homes are usually very brightly lit at great expense, as are businesses that cater to the sighted consumer. How can I support a sighted person? People who are sighted do not want your charity. They want to live, work, and play along with you. The best thing you can do to support sighted people in your community is to open yourself to their world. These people are vital contributing members to society. Take a sighted person to lunch today.
Well, thank you for reading that, Eddie. I thought that was quite entertaining. So there you have it. That's the vibe. If you found that funny, if you fit the definition of as being a sighted person, and if you had yourself a little snicker out of that, then you understand how it works the other way. Well, that's about it, I think, for this week for Mailbag. We'd like to thank you, Eddie, for coming by again.
My pleasure. I have noticed, though, that most of our emails from the United States come from the north. It would be nice to hear more from you folks down south.
Yeah, I suppose it sure would. That's a kind of a out of left field sort of comment to make there, Eddie. Might this perhaps have something to do with a particular girl in Louisville, Kentucky?
And there's the doorbell. Gotta go. This is Eddie Mailbag signing out. Bye for now.
Republic of Avalon Radio, you're with The Roar. I'm Jim Fidler, and make sure you do send in your stories to us. We would love to hear your stories here on The Roar. And while we sort of have you in that kind of outside in downtown St. John's frame of mind, let's take a little shot back out and see what we find.
Okay, we're standing outside of Aaron's Pub here, and we have with us, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Barb from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I'm here in lovely St. John's, Newfoundland.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, having a great time.
And you're here to see a certain band, I think, a popular band?
Oh, yes, a very popular band. Pearl Jam! PJ! Yay, PJ! Sorry.
So you came all the way from Winnipeg to see Pearl Jam?
I certainly did. I got to catch both nights, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've caught them across Canada, like Vancouver. Not as much as some people, but I saw them in Vancouver, Winnipeg, and now their final 2 dates in Canada, and I'm looking forward to it. Just very excited now. I won't sleep tonight now that I'm talking about it.
It's funny. One of our episodes of The Roar from May. We were talking to a guy on a skateboard with a sleeping bag, and he was just kind of rocking on past, and we kind of said hi to him, and he was on his way to buy tickets.
Oh, really? On his way. Okay.
And we just realized here it is now, you know.
Right.
And
yeah.
that's what he was buying tickets for way back last May.
So he's heading down to Mile 1 Stadium?
Yeah.
All right.
He was camped out. He was one of the campers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
No, I'm fortunate enough to get my tickets for the first night through the 10 Club. I'm a member of the 10 Club, and that's the Pearl Jam fan club. So
okay.
I got my tickets for like the different places, Vancouver, Winnipeg, and now here for Saturday nights. But today I actually went down to Mile 1 Stadium and picked up my own tickets for Sunday night. Because I didn't realize they were having I thought I had the last one on Saturday night, but no, they added another one. So I had to see the last show in Canada, so that's what I did. So yeah.
So is this your first time in Newfoundland?
It certainly is, and I'm loving every minute of it. I've been here, I think, 36 hours now, and it's like blowing me away. I cannot believe how much live good music is in this city. It's amazing. I mean, you know, there's George Street that you hear about from everybody. Oh, you got to do George Street. Well, okay, George Street's good, but I'm finding like it's the off streets that are. Water Street is
that little tiny off street called Water Street kind of rocks too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just fabulous. Last night caught an act in the Rose and Thistle, and they were like a couple actually from Ottawa. Of all places, I was hoping for more local, but you know, whatever. Okay, you go with what you get. But they were fantastic. Like the guitarist, he just blew me away. It was like a mix of like Lenny Bro with I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Oh, George Benson.
Yep.
And just unbelievable guitar. And unfortunately, the singer had been at this ship the night before.
Hey, you say that like me, singer.
Oh, singer.
Actually,
vocalist.
Singer.
Singer.
He's a good singer.
She's a good singer.
She's a good singer. And you know what?
What?
We've got Glenn Simmons singing inside right now.
I know, and this is fabulous. It's like, why are we out here?
Wonderful grand band.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and Aaron's Pub is just rocking.
And we don't work. You know, as our listeners know, we don't work for any of these people, and they don't pay us anything.
I'm doing all the name dropping here just because it's my first time, and I'm trying to remember the places. I've had so many names dropped on me, like I said, in the last 36 hours that I've been here. I can't remember everything, but when I do, I think, okay, I got to remember this place because when I come back, You know, I got to make sure I come back to these places. Thing is, everything is in such a small radius. It makes it easy to go from bar to bar to bar.
Isn't it convenient?
And
Yes.
it's fabulous. Like, I mean, the weather's great. I mean, it's raining a bit, but who cares?
Yeah.
You just spit on and go inside. And
We're dry.
yeah, where it's dry, you warm up and cool or dry up in no time. But there's always some libation out there that can, you know, give you a nice little warm glow.
Is there anybody you'd like to send a shout out to?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Whether they're
send.
listening or not, it
Yeah.
could be a cosmic shout out. Or maybe they might be listening. Maybe when you get back to Winnipeg,
Yeah.
you might tell them and they can tune in and actually hear the shout out.
Oh yeah, well, I'd like to shout out to Pauline for one.
yes.
My girlfriend from originally here, and
Yep.
she knows Jim and Lillian, so that's how I met these folks. So I have to say hello to Pauline and just to all the kindred spirits in the world who love live music.
I'll up that. We'll up that for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, and you too. Lots of love and hugs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rock on or whatever you do.
Rock on with our good selves.
Yeah.
Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with the roar.
Joke of the week, joke of the week. Everybody gotta love the joke of the week. If you're thinking that it isn't funny, then you're not a very funny bunny. Hold your eggs, throw your money. It's the joke of the week, joke of the week. Everybody gotta love the joke of the week.
A man once spent days looking for his new hat. Finally, he decided that he'd go to church on Sunday and sit at the back. During the service, he would sneak out and grab a hat from the rack at the front door. On Sunday, he went to church and sat at the back. The sermon was about the 10 Commandments. He sat through the whole sermon, and instead of sneaking out, he waited until the sermon was over and went to talk to the priest. "Father, I came here today to steal a hat, to replace the one I lost. But after hearing your sermon on the 10 Commandments, I changed my mind." The priest said, "Bless you, my son. Was it when I started to preach, 'Thou shalt not steal,' that changed your heart?" The man responded, "No, it was the one on adultery. When you started to preach on that, I remembered where I left my hat."
Joke of the week, joke of the week. Everybody gotta love the joke of the week.
Well, that just about does it for another week here at Republic of Avalon Radio. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget next week, the Power Hour with Colleen Power. And don't forget to tell all your friends about the Roar. We're going to crack that 5,000 mark by next week. In the meantime, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time right here on Republic of Avalon Radio.
Root Cellar production.